In an apartment complex in New York City, a girl talks to her best friend on the phone about their plans for the night. The girl's name is Clary Frey, and it's her 18th birthday, so she's making plans to hang out with her friend Simon. She's a seemingly normal girl, with a petite stature and pretty features, with a talent for drawing that she inherited from her mother, Jocelyn. Lately, she's taken to drawing a strange symbol that she sees everywhere she goes, which her mother notices and worries about because she knows what the symbol means to Clary. Clary is clueless about the symbol or the secrets her mother keeps. At the moment, she wants to have fun on her birthday with her friend. She tells Simon that she wants to go out after their planned poetry reading, maybe to do something wild and unpredictable that they would never do, and that she's not going to tell her mother about it. Before she leaves, however, her mother worriedly asks her how she's feeling, and after Clary tells her she's fine, her mom asks her to come straight back home after the poetry reading. She leaves to meet Simon, and her mother's boyfriend, Luke, tells Jocelyn she needs to tell Clary the truth, but Jocelyn tells him that Clary isn't ready for it yet. Luke retorts that it's Jocelyn who isn't ready to tell her little girl the truth about who she really is and what she can do. Clary and Simon meet, but the poetry reading is boring and strange, not at all what Clary would want to do to celebrate, but she promised Simon she would go. As she drinks a cappuccino, Clary is surprised when she sees the strange symbol again. It keeps following her everywhere she goes and she doesn't understand why. After the poetry reading, Clary and Simon are walking around the city and she sees the symbol again at a nightclub sign. Since it's out in the open, which is different from the other times she has seen it, she tells Simon she wants to go there to ask what it means. Simon has no idea what she's talking about and can't see anything besides the name of the nightclub. Clary asks the security guy what it means, and a man who is entering the club at the same time overhears it and allows her to enter. It's obviously an exclusive nightclub, but Clary doesn't know why yet. When they enter the nightclub, most of the people are dancing and having lots of fun. No one notices how much Clary and Simon stand out in their casual clothes in contrast to the people's dark and sensual clothing. Clary doesn't care. That was exactly what she was hoping for as a celebration for her birthday. She starts dancing and even makes eye contact with the same man that allowed her to enter. They start flirting from a distance until the man catches the eye of another woman. Clary turns to look and finds a beautiful and sensual woman staring at the man. She calls him to her and he instantly forgets about Clary. Clary is captivated by the woman for some reason. She watches as the man approaches her and they briefly talk before the woman's snake bracelet turns into a whip, which she uses to attack the man. The man tries to escape, but two other men appear to help the woman. One of them is a young, blonde man with bright blue eyes and tattoos on his arms. What catches Clary's attention, though, is the sword he's holding. Suddenly, the mystery man turns and cuts the other man's throat. Clary is so frightened and incredulous that she screams bloody murder, literally. Everyone turns to look at Clary, including the woman and men who had just eliminated someone in public. To make things worse, the man they supposedly eliminated is writhing on the floor with tentacles snapping out of him. By the time Simon arrives back with their drinks, Clary asks if he didn't see what she saw, but he's confused by her frantic behavior. There's nothing there for him to see, and he thinks Clary may have been drugged. They go back home and Clary is paranoid that someone followed her. She finds her mother sleeping on the couch after waiting for her to arrive and covers her with a blanket. Her mother wasn't sleeping at all, and she notices something is wrong with Clary. Her fears for her daughter and her future are coming true. Next day, Clary wakes up and sees that her hands are all dirty with paint. When she turns to look around her room, she sees drawings of the strange symbol everywhere on her walls. It seems she frantically drew them the night before, though she doesn't remember it. She freaks out and pulls some of the drawings from the walls to put in her bag and leaves her bedroom in a rush. Her mother is worried and asks to talk to her, but the only thing in Clary's mind is to find out why she's drawing that symbol. They argue for a bit and Clary leaves with Simon. They go to a coffee shop where Clary shows him the drawings and tells him she feels as if she's losing her mind. Then, she catches sight of the blonde tattooed man from the night before and gets agitated. Simon can't see the man, only Clary can. The man motions for her to follow him in the moment they are alone. Clary questions him about the symbols. He tells her he knew she wasn't mundane, someone from the human world. Clary is utterly confused as the man explains things with riddles. Meanwhile, Jocelyn is attacked by two men with the same tattoos the blonde man talking to Clary has. They are looking for a cup that Jocelyn is hiding, but she refuses to give its location to them. She fiercely fights them and manages to call Clary, telling her to not come back home. Clary panics and runs back home, almost getting hit by cars on the way. Her home is in a disarray when she arrives, and she's attacked by a dog before she manages to lock him up in the bathroom. The dog starts to shift into a strange creature, but Clary doesn't even have time to freak out about it, as she's still looking for her mom. The creature comes after her and at the last moment, Clary manages to blow him up, but it regenerates. Before it can do anything to hurt her, the tattooed man she was talking to appears and eliminates it. The man's name is Jace Wayland, and he tells Clary the creature was actually a demon, and that demons have the ability to possess anyone, so she shouldn't trust anyone. Desperate to find her mom, Clary goes after her neighbor, Dorothea, and learns she's a witch. Dorothea makes her choose a card from her tarot deck of cards, and Clary draws the Ace of Cups. Jace recognizes the cup as one of the 3 holy objects of his people. Dorothea explains to Clary that her mother was a shadow hunter, or a demon hunter, like Jace's, and that she hired someone to wipe Clary's memories away, probably to protect her from something or someone. Clary hears a noise coming from her house and goes there only to find Simon standing there staring at the mess. Jace introduces himself to Simon, and the 3 of them go after Jocelyn's boyfriend, Luke, to see if he knows anything about her kidnapping. When they arrive at his place, Jace and Clary discover he's being interrogated with violence about the cup's whereabouts. While he's being beaten, Clary hears him say that he didn't care about her mother or her, and he was with Jocelyn because he wanted to know where the cup was too. Clary is heartbroken and accidentally knocks a vase over, which makes Luke and the men interrogating him notice. They all fight, but Clary, Jace, and Simon manage to escape. Clary starts having a panic attack over what she heard from Luke, a man she considered a father figure in her life, and the fact that her mother is missing with no clue to where she was taken to. Jace calms her down and promises to protect her with his life if it's necessary. They go to Shadowhunter Institute, a huge stone castle right in the middle of New York City, where Clary passes out because she was bitten by a demon. Jace heals her by giving her a healing rune, which is similar to the tattoos he and other Shadowhunters have. When Clary wakes up, she finds out that she has Shadowhunter blood, and that they are in extinction because they don't have the Mortal Cup. To become a Shadowhunter, you either have to be born one or drink from the Mortal Cup. Now there are only a few of them left, amongst them the Lightwood siblings, Alec and Isabel. Isabel is the beautiful woman with the snake bracelet that Clary saw at the nightclub. Alec warns Clary to stay away from Jace, but it's pointless because Jace is already interested in Clary. Jace informs Clary she needs to talk to Hodge, the Shadowhunter leader, and as Clary waits for the man, she finds a photo album full of pictures of her mother, Luke, and a strange man. Hodge arrives and tells her Jocelyn was one of the best Shadowhunters back in her day. Then he explains to Clary that Shadowhunters are half angel and half human, and they exist to protect the world and keep the balance between good and evil. Clary wonders why they don't use the cup to create more Shadowhunters if they are almost extinct, and Hodge answers that a man named Valentine thought exactly that. He's the same man who wants to find the cup and probably kidnap Jocelyn. Valentine wasn't thinking about the common good, nor about saving the Shadowhunters. He was greedy and wanted more power. To stop Valentine from accomplishing his desires, Jocelyn stole the cup and disappeared. Hodge has the theory that Jocelyn told Clary where the cup is, that's why she erased her memories. Before they can get more into it, Jace interrupts the conversation, saying the Silent Brothers are ready to see her. He takes her to the City of Bones, a sanctuary beneath a cemetery, to try to unlock her memories. Clary remembers bits and pieces from when she was younger, but nothing that can help them find the cup. The only thing they find out is the name of the warlock who put the spell on her, a man named Magnus Bane. Jace tells her they are going after him, but first she needs some help from Isabel to choose the appropriate clothes to go. Isabel gives a disgruntled Clary a very tight black dress and heels, neither of which are part of Clary's daily wardrobe. Isabel insists on dressing her up so she blends in, and Clary relents. As Isabel is helping her out, Clary mentions Alec doesn't like her much, probably because of his feelings for Jace. Jace considers Alec a brother, though, and is developing feelings for Clary. They go meet the warlock, and a man wearing no pants and a jacket appears to greet them. Magnus Bane is a flamboyant, eccentric and very powerful warlock that decides to help them because of Alec, who he finds handsome. Magnus tells Clary that her mother had to bring her every year to strengthen the spell he cast on her. Clary's drawings of the Shadowhunter's symbol was the sign that her memories were coming back. Clary also finds out that her mom lied about who her father is. Magnus tries to defend Jocelyn and ominously warns Clary that Jocelyn was running from Shadowhunters. Clary leaves with Jace after he interrupts the conversation to tell her that Simon was taken by vampires. Clary, Jace, Isabel and Alec go to a church to grab some weapons to fight against the vampires. Jace gives Clary a weapon and teaches her how to use it. They go into the vampire's lair that is apparently empty. Clary finds Simon's shirt along with a blood trail. Simon is hanging from a couple of wires, and when Clary reaches him, he desperately warns her it was a trap for her. The vampires were after her. They save Simon, but there's another bigger issue to solve. A bunch of vampires come and surround them, so there's no way for them to escape unscathed. Jace, Isabel and Alec fight valiantly, even Clary helps a little, but they are too outnumbered to win. At the last minute, when they are losing hope, a pack of wolves appear and take on the vampires so they can escape. Not wasting time, they all run away until Clary is attacked by another vampire. And when Jace helps her, she falls over him and they almost kiss. Clary thanks him for saving her and Simon, and stands up to go see if Simon is okay. Later that day, Alec asks to talk to Clary and tells her he wants her to leave, that she almost got them eliminated, and that she's a deadweight. Clary gets offended and replies that the only reason he's telling her that is because he's in love with Jace, and not brave enough to tell him. Alec threatens Clary that he's going to take her life if she says anything to him, then abruptly leaves. Clary's upset by the threat, but there's nothing she can do to Alec. After all, he did have a point. She goes to stay with Simon until he wakes up. As she's cleaning him up, she notices 2 bite marks on his arm. She immediately gets worried about her best friend, but she doesn't mention anything to him or to others. While she's helping him, Jace watches how cozy and comfortable they are with each other and leaves them be. He's frustrated about the whole situation with Clary and takes it out on his piano. Clary finds him and they start talking about music and how it helps with finding demons. Then, Jace shows her a portal that can take her anywhere her mind wants to go. Clary instantly wants to go to her mother, but Jace stops her by saying that they have to train hard to use the portal, and that if she goes in on a whim, she can get stuck in the limbo forever. Jace shows her how it works by using the portal to caress her hair and face while watching Clary smile, as his hand touches her. After that, Jace tells her they need to celebrate her birthday and takes her to the Institute's garden. The garden is very romantic with the flowers, sounds of nature and fireflies flying around them. He cuts up an apple, puts a candle in it and gives it to Clary. They spend a lot of time together. Jace tells her a bit about his life before becoming a shadow hunter and eventually they kiss. When they return to the room where she's staying, they kiss again and are interrupted by a disgruntled Simon, who is jealous of Clary and Jace. Jace gets angry that Simon is apparently sleeping in Clary's room and in a fit of jealousy, tells her their kiss wasn't important for him either. His thoughtless words hurt Clary, but there's nothing else she can do when he storms out without looking back. To make things better, Simon is also upset and tells Clary that he hates Jace, that he was the one who has always been there for her, and that he loves her. Clary doesn't feel the same way about him. He's just her best friend. It's not enough for him anymore, and he leaves her. Later, Clary is drawing the Shadowhunter's rune when she accidentally performs a spell on the cup of tea she was drinking. Hodge tells Clary her mother's the only one who could do a spell like that, and with her memories coming back, her powers are too. That gives Clary an idea of where her mother could have hidden the cup. It's inside one of her paintings. Clary goes after Jace and tells him she knows where the cup is so that he can help her, and they, along with Isabel and Alec, go back to Clary's house. She goes straight to Dorothea's house and asks about the tarot cards. Dorothea is acting weird, but gives Clary the deck Jocelyn had made for her. Clary picks up the card with the cup drawn on it that Jace had noticed the first time they were at Dorothea's house. Clary uses the spell she used before and grabs the cup from the card, all while Jace pays close attention to Dorothea, who starts squirming on her seat. When she sees the cup Clary is holding, she shifts into a demon and grabs Clary. Jace tries to fight her, but before he had entered her house, she made him leave his weapons behind, and she's too strong for him to physically fight her. Isabel and Alec hear their struggle and come to the rescue. The demon is too strong. It hurts Alec badly, almost fatally. Out of nowhere, Simon appears to help and Jace has the chance to grab his weapons to finally end Dorothea. When the demon is dealt with, Clary hides the cup in the card again. Now, only her mother and her can take it out. After the adrenaline of the fight passes, Clary and Simon make up, much to Jace's chagrin. He's still really jealous of them together, even though Clary only sees Simon as a friend. Isabel calls Jace and tells him Alec isn't healing as he should. They return to the Institute and Isabel blames Clary for her brother's mortal wound. Clary feels really guilty that her problems brought so much hurt to so many people. Jace tells her to go after Hodge to tell him what is going on, and when she does, she finds out Hodge has been a traitor all along. He summons Valentine and gives him the cup. Valentine pours his blood in the cup and commands Clary to drink it. Clary refuses, of course. She's disgusted by that man and only wants her mother back beside her. Valentine is relentless and even tells her that wasn't the first time she would be drinking his blood, because she was his daughter. Jocelyn has been hiding Clary from him this whole time. To escape a mental Valentine, Clary decides to jump into the portal even without training, so that she can go to where her mother is. She ends up in a street that is empty except for a little blonde girl singing and hopping around. When the girl sees Clary, she comes closer and shifts into a demon. She's ready to attack when Clary is saved by a wolf again. The wolf immobilizes the demon and shifts back to human. When Clary sees who it is, she cannot believe it. It's Luke, Jocelyn's boyfriend, and he wants to help Clary find her mother. He explains to her that when he told Valentine's henchmen that he didn't care about Clary or her mother, he was lying to protect her from them. Clary is suspicious at first, but then she remembers the wolves that helped her and the others escaped from the vampires. Luke was one of them. Meanwhile, Valentine is angry that Clary escaped and plans on summoning demons to invade the Institute. Hodge is hesitant about doing that, so he suggests emotionally manipulating Clary by saying that Jace is her brother in order to make her crumble. When Jace goes to Hodge's office to find him, he finds Valentine instead and Valentine informs Jace that he's his son. Jace refuses to believe what Valentine's saying, especially because it would imply he had a romantic relationship with his sister. Moving on, Magnus appears at the Institute to save a dying Alec, and while he takes care of the Shadowhunter, Isabel and Simon go after supplies that he asked for. On their way to the storage room, Simon accidentally finds Jocelyn. She has been at the institute this whole time. Hodge probably helped Valentine hide her there. Simon calls Clary to tell her the good news, and she gets ready to go back to the institute with Luke. To help in the rescue, Luke calls a bunch of werewolves for backup. What they don't know is that Valentine summoned the demons, and now the demons run free in the institute. When Clary gets there, she meets Isabel and Simon. They are ambushed by the demons and have to hide. Isabel is the only one who knows how to fight, as werewolves are not made to fight against demons. They are locked into a room with the demons trying to enter when Clary has an idea. She draws a rune on the palm of her hand, a rune that isn't in the Book of Runes, and uses it to paralyze the demons. They escape from the room and Clary goes after Valentine. He has her mother now, sleeping while he watches her. Valentine is caressing Jocelyn and telling her that he has never forgotten her when Clary appears behind him and holds a knife to his neck. Before she can do any damage to Valentine, Jace disarms her and tells her to listen to what Valentine has to say. Valentine says that he finally has both his children together, and Clary cannot believe it. She desperately tells Jace that Valentine is lying to him, and that Luke had told her that her brother had died in a fire when he was just a baby. Valentine rebukes her by saying that the bones found in the fire were from another child, not his son. Jace believes in Valentine, but Clary is not so certain, especially not when she's in love with him. Jace explains to her that his real name is Jonathan and that Jace is only a nickname. Clary starts connecting the dots, and when she understands the repercussions of what that meant, she starts crying. Valentine forces her to take out the cup, and Jace gets mad that he's hurting her. They start fighting, but Jace is losing because Valentine is too strong and skillful, even more than Jace. In the middle of their fight, one of them accidentally kicks the card with the cup hidden, and Clary takes it. As she stares at the object that brought so much grief for her and her family, she has an idea. She grabs the replica of the cup that is locked in Hedge's office, and when Jace is about to be eliminated by Valentine, she orders him to stop or he would lose the cup. She puts the cup inside the portal, threatening to let it go to a place only she will know. Valentine tries to persuade her not to drop it, and Clary pretends it works. She hands him the cup, and as he stands in front of the portal, holding the cup as if it were the most important thing in the world for him, Clary pushes him. As Jace explained before, if you don't go into the portal with the place in mind, you get lost in the limbo, which is what is going to happen to Valentine. Clary turns around, relieved, to stare at Jace when Valentine tries to pull her into the portal. Jace holds her and helps her end Valentine once and for all by striking his weapon into it. The portal explodes and Valentine goes with it. Jace and Clary wake up and she runs to her mom. Jocelyn is still in a deep sleep, but she moves her fingers, which gives Clary hope that she'll eventually wake up. Clary goes back home and fixes the mess there using her newfound powers. Jace meets her there and asks her to not give up being a shadow hunter because they need her. He needs her. He leaves her to her thoughts, but not even 5 minutes later, Clary goes after him. She accepts to become a shadow hunter, and though it's not confirmed if they are siblings or not, Jace says that he doesn't feel like it's true. Clary hops on his bike and they drive back to the institute, marking the beginning of her new life.